the companies that I work with are subscription businesses that, they've reached $50 million of revenue, or maybe 25 or 15. And they start seeing that, they've grown exponentially over the course of 4 or 5 to 7 years. And then all of a sudden, they're generally a year or two into growth sort of leveling out, where it's like it happened gradually, where it's, growth started declining every single month. And often they didn't notice until all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, my recurring revenue is the same as what it was, 2 years ago. Some of them actually even have a negative growth month or two. And they've had their teams try to do things and implement some strategies and put some things in place, and it hasn't worked. And then they reach out, they find my book Retention Point on Amazon, they read that, and then they approach me and like, hey, what's going on? How can you help us stop our subscribers from quitting and make our recurring revenue growth exponential again?
One of the things that I think that you taught me that was really revolutionary, at least in my own business, was how you onboard customers. And in my case, being in the information publishing business, how to completely reorganize the delivery of the training to, create like accomplishable goals and get the customer into consuming the product a lot quicker. And, these were like, to me, I guess, when I was entering into this relationship with you initially, I was looking for the tips and the tricks and the little tweaks that, I would just kind of switch on, and ultimately the business would be transformed. And what I got from you was something far more profound and far more beneficial and kind of set me up for significantly greater long-term success. But where's the starting point for you in terms of like helping a business to increase their retention?
Absolute flatter. Thank you for that. What I see in many subscription businesses is they have this more is better sort of attitude.
Yeah.
And that they started at one point trying to, with a very lean offer, that they, minimally viable offer or what have you, that was just a bare bones basic thing. And then over time, in order to improve conversion, they would add a bonus, or they'd add some sort of benefit, or they'd have some sort of promo and something else would get added. And then maybe like conversion rates would decline or ad costs would go up. And so they'd go, oh, let's add something else in order to improve our conversion and lower our ad cost. And then things would be a problem. And they're like, oh, well, let's add some more. And what's happened is increasing as they've added more, they have actually reduced their conversion rates and hurt their retention rates because there's so much bloated stuff in this offer. And that subscribers start to feel bad. It's like, oh, I'm not going to use all of that. There's no reason for me to buy that. I can't implement that. I can't get the value out of that. And there's this impulse to fix that by giving more. And for instance, for whatever reason, my wife hates the Mother's Day buffet. And the Mother's Day buffet, they have shrimp cocktail, they have crab legs, they have steak, ribeye carving stations, they have every sort of little vegetable. The salad bar is like 30 feet long with all kinds of vegetables and all kinds of sides that you'd never be able to get otherwise. And it's, it's like $45 per person to be able to go to this Mother's Day buffet, and we all dress up, and they take little family photos of you, and they send it to you that you can post online, and they've got a beautiful background. It's an amazing experience, but she feels bad because she doesn't eat very much. And she's like, well, I don't eat $45 worth of food, so there's no reason for me to go and be there. And that's how your customers feel when you overload your offer with all these cool benefit things. And the crab legs look awesome. The shrimp cocktail is like 3 feet long and piled high, and it's an amazing presentation. And yet it makes her feel bad because she doesn't eat enough. And what you have to appreciate with your customers is it has to be right for them. And overwhelming them with stuff and more deliverables reduces their satisfaction in the product, not because your product is wrong, but they don't feel like they can use it, and they don't feel like they're getting the value. And what you have to do is meet your customer where she is and deliver a right size for her and help her move to the next step so that she feels good about the first step. And that's how you improve your retention rate, is not by delivering this massive amount of stuff. Instead, deliver the right size product in order to make her feel good about the initial relationship, and then move her on to a higher value.
I remember, I'm thinking back on a conversation that you and I had when we were hanging out one of the times, and we were mapping out an offer. And I said, I'm going to put this in it and that in it and the other in it and, everything in the kitchen sink. And your response just floored me. You were like, yeah, but where do you go from there? Like the idea of, like, if you want to upsell them something on the back end, like what else can you give them if you put everything in the kitchen sink into the front end offer? Do you find that that's like, do you find that a lot of companies kind of overload the front end offer and then have difficulty perhaps upselling them things on the back end because they've put so much power into the front end offer that it limits their ability to upsell in the back end?
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
And when I have encountered people who are overloading their offer, it's usually because they don't really have a clear understanding of who their customer avatar is. Mm-hmm. And so they are trying to kind of cover their bases with, there's this type of person and they like this, and there's that type of person and they may want some of that, and there's this type of person. And so rather than being really clear about who they are trying to appeal to, they try to overload with all of this stuff. And that in particular, one of my superpowers is developing higher priced offers and being able to, come into a company where there was a company that, that was selling as a publishing business, and they had overwhelmed their customers. They were like, we got this $1,000 a year offer, $100 a month, and we're just delivering soup to nuts, everything we could possibly think of. And we really want to create a $5,000 per year offer, but we have no idea what we deliver. Okay. And the answer was, we did a survey of their subscribers and found out that 3% of their subscribers were really successful, and they were really rabid and using the product. And what we did is we created an offer for that 3%. And most business owners think in terms of, what can we create that will appeal to all of them? And how do we create an upsell that everybody could use? But by creating something that was only for 3%, and we actually even said you have to have assets of X in order to even be able to buy this. So don't even buy this unless you have that. Well, what it did by creating that sort of velvet rope in front of this offer is it made the 3% who qualified, want to leap in. And then there was also some aspirational buyers that may not be there yet, but wanted to be there soon. And so they jumped into the offer. And so, that $5,000 offer crushed it because it was tailored for a particular person. And it had things specific to them. And so by taking your focus off of what you're delivering and trying to overload your prospect, and instead flipping your focus on who you're delivering it to, and thinking in terms of how do we meet them where they are and move them to where they want to go in the fastest possible time frame. And maybe we don't get them all the way, but maybe there's this incremental step where they feel good that they're making progress and they've received a benefit. Then that's the magical secret. And rather than, like, what I see is like, the offer is, it takes you 10 minutes to explain what you're delivering, and people don't know what they bought. They're like, oh. So if you've got people in customer service that are like, I don't even understand what I just paid for, then that is a sign that you have a low converting offer. Even though maybe you met your sales goals, you just scratched the surface on what you could have done had you had a very clear deliverable that met your customer where they were and helped them move towards where they want to be.
So if you enjoyed this clip and you'd like to benefit from more monetization secrets, go and register now for Monetization Daily. You can go to monetizationresearch.com to get it. It is a free newsletter that is absolutely awesome. It is delivered to your email inbox, and it contains lots of great monetization tips, tactics, and strategies that you will love. Again, head on over to monetizationresearch.com to get it now.